Thanks for coming out. This is the Eyes of the Masters series, and it's really a real honor and privilege. I'm very excited to have our guest here today, someone that I personally have been a fan of for many, many years, who has influenced generations of performers, and I've been trying to get him here for a couple of years, and the schedules didn't work out. But we have here today a trombonist, a creative musician, a producer, a band leader who has performed and recorded with a wonderful and incredible array of musicians all the way back from Ike and Tina Turner, Hank Ballard and the Midnighters, James Brown, George Clinton, Parliament Funkadelic, Count Basie, Bootsy. I could go on, but instead, please give a very warm welcome to Mr. Fred Wesley. Those of you guys who are playing with Fred, come on up.
Thank you. I didn't know I was so popular, because I'm basically a sideman, you know. I've been sideman with a lot of musicians, Count Basie, Ike and Tina Turner, James Brown, and to get a rousing ovation like that, you know, makes me feel real good, because I'm usually the guy standing on the side, you know. That's why they call us sidemen. So I play jazz, a little jazz, and funk, a little funk, and I mix it up sometimes and play jazz and funk. So I'm going to play a jazz tune for you now. If we got a band here. Yep. Then I'll answer some of your questions. I'm sure you'd like to know what a sideman does, and probably want to ask me some questions about being a sideman. Incidentally, I played the trombone. I'm going to do this by myself. So I'm going to play a little tune called All the Things You Are. Right on it. 2 beat. F, A flat. Yeah, okay. 1. Now that was a little tune that I love to do because it's jazz, you know. That was my first love. Jazz was, I was studying jazz when my father came to me with a trombone and said, if you learn how to play this instrument, you can be in my band. My father had a big band. It was called the Rhythmic Sensations. And he needed a trombone player in it because the trombone player, I had no other way to say this. He took a white gig downtown. I'm from Mobile, Alabama. First of all, I'm from down south, Mobile, Alabama. It was segregated during the time. And you had white gigs and black gigs. So the other trombone player took a white gig downtown, and my father needed a trombone player in the band. So that was me. He had me playing cymbals and bongos and triangles and things, you know, anything I could beat on, but I was serious about playing the trombone. So I've been playing trombone ever since. But what was my point? Oh yeah, so I was studying jazz when a guy came to me and wanted me to play in his rock and roll band, sort of a rock and roll blues, rhythm and blues type of band. And so then I started playing what we now know as funk. But I still love jazz. And but I took the gig because it paid money. And because the jazz gig didn't pay much money, you know. They still don't pay much money now, you know. We'll talk about that later. But the funk gigs, the R&B gigs, the rock and roll gigs paid more money. So it wasn't much money. Not in Mobile, Alabama. $8 was the top going price, you know. But that's what got me into playing funk. Anyway, I'm famous for playing one solo on James Brown record, Going to Have a Funky Good Time. It was called Doing It to Death. And I don't know why that's so famous, but so far it's carried me all over the world. You know, I have to do that tune. You know, I'd rather do my own tunes. I'd rather do tunes like this. But this tune, Funky Good Time, and Pass the Peas are the two tunes that made me a famous trombone player. So I'm gonna show you how Pass the Peas goes. So you all know Pass the Peas? Sure. Okay, all right. Pass the peas, pass the peas, pass the peas. Like, come on. Pass the peas. Yeah, pass the peas like we used to say. Come on, pass the peas, pass the peas. Pass the peas like we used to say. Pass the peas. Y'all never thought y'all be doing that, did you? Pass the peas, like, pass it. So now I got to play that all the time, you know. But recently I have embraced that music. I play a lot of funk with my own band. We do some tunes that are jazz and funk, you know. We have a tune called "For the Elders," "In Love in L.A." And you can find all these on the internet. Peace Power, No One. All these tunes are sort of a mix between jazz and funk because that's where I come from, you know. And we do a mixture of jazz and funk on our show. So I'm gonna answer some questions now. If you wanna ask me some questions. I want to explain that jazz is like this. Jazz goes all over the place. But funk is like this. Funk goes one thing. Now, it's easy to play funk because it's just one chord. One chord go all the way. But it's hard to play funk because you have to make something out of that one chord. It's very difficult to make something pleasing out of one chord, you know. And jazz is easy to play because you have a lot of chords and you have a lot of places to go. But it's hard to play because you have to play something different on each chord, you know. So jazz and funk are not that different, but it's just different emphasis you place the elements of rhythm, melody, and what's the other thing? Rhythm, melody, and harmony. There you go. The different emphasis you place on those three elements of music. So I'm sure you want to ask me some questions about my book. This is a book they call Hit Me Fred. It is
great book. Highly recommended.
It's a story of my life, you know, up until then, you know. Now it's been more life since those books. This book came out in 2003, and I've lived a whole nother life since then. You know, this is 2015, and the new book will be coming out sometime soon. You know, before I die, I hope. $30
and there's a $25 student price.
Yeah. So we give him a student price, you know. All right. So anybody in the audience want to come up and play a couple tunes with me, you know? I see a lot of people brought your instruments. A funk tune or a jazz tune. Yeah. Yeah, trombone player. There we go. Yeah. Yes. Hold on.
Jimmy, hold on a second. Okay, go ahead. Jimmy's got a question.
Was the Davis Motel in Mobile, Alabama, when you grew up?
What do you say?
The Davis Motel.
The Davis Motel? No. That was in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, I think. Wasn't it? It was the LeGrand Motel. Yeah, in Mobile. It was on Davis Avenue. Yeah. Aren't you from Mississippi? Hattiesburg? Oh, yeah, yeah. In the LeGrand Motel. LeGrand, yeah. It was, right, it was a club across the street. Yeah. So we're going to find a happy medium tune. You want to do a tune? Come on up. Trumpet player, how you doing? All right. What tune you want to play? What tune?
Up Jump Spring.
Up. I don't know that. Okay, we do that. What tune? Up Jump Spring? Yeah? Up Spring. Everybody know that? Huh? You don't know it? All right, we'll play that later. All right, 1, 2, ready, play. Oh, hold it, just a minute. Oh, I just imagine that the rhythm section knows. All right. What tune do you know? What tune would you say? They don't know that tune. Blues? Sandu. And E flat, right? Yeah. Okay. We're gonna do a tune called Sandu. Great tune by the great Clifford Brown. Yeah. Okay. Okay. One, two. he could do ooh, down, all that kind of stuff. He could do all that kind of stuff, and he enjoyed doing that kind of stuff. But we didn't enjoy doing that. That's why the band broke up. We didn't really enjoy. He would go all out in the audience and play. We had to follow him out in the audience and play. We didn't like that. We didn't like that too much. So we ended up splitting away from. But Maceo still has the band now, and he's doing very well too. But Pee Wee has his own band. He plays more jazz, and I have a band too. We play a little mixture of jazz and funk.
And Fred is at the Blue Note through Sunday, so you can go see his band. Well, who's playing with you at the Blue Note?
I'm the guest. I'm just a guest.
Oh, you are. Never mind. But
Donald Harrison.
It's not his band.
The
Sorry.
Donald Harrison band.
Donald Harrison.
Donald Harrison, and I'm a guest. Christian Scott is a guest. Christian Scott, great trumpet player, and Leo Nocentelli, a great guitar player that founded the Meters, and so we just special guests with Donald Harrison right now. Did I answer your question? Yeah.
Can you tell us what you had a tumultuous relationship with Mr. Brown? But can you tell us a little bit about what you learned from him musically, and a little bit? I mean, I'm sure you have stories for hours and days to tell us. Mm-hmm. But if you could give us a little bit of a context or a feeling of what it was like to be in that band, because you had 2 stints in the group. Yeah.
Well, the first stint was as a sideman. I just played the trombone. I did what Pee Wee Ellis told me to do and what James Brown told me to do, and played my part. But the second time, I came back in the band. Well, first I moved to California. I quit James Brown band, moved to California.
When was that you quit and moved out west?
It was 1970, and came back in the band in 71. I stayed out there a year and came back in the band in 1971 as the band leader. James Brown told me that he needed a band leader because Bootsy was in the band at that time, Well, let me explain to you. After I left, Maceo left, took the whole band with him. And that's where James got Bootsy. Bootsy had a band called the Total Strangers, I think. And they came in, they were the James Brown band for a while. But Bootsy would not yield to James Brown's pressure. James Brown would tell him to do this. He'd say, you're not going to do this stuff. And so he didn't do like James Brown said. Because we got some good records with James. He got Super Bad and Sex Machine.
The Grunt?
And the Grunt. That was the first JB's record, And Soul Power. Yeah. But he didn't knuckle down to James Brown like he had to do. So James came out to California and got me, and so he wanted me to be his band leader. So I was doing very bad in California at the time, and I said, okay, I'll take the job and I'll do like he said, So at that same time, he had just signed a deal with Polydor Records, which said he had to do a certain number of albums a year. Now James Brown didn't do albums. He did singles. He had a single every 6 months would come out, But now he had to do albums. So I'm the man, So he told me to do album here and album here. And he would dictate certain things for me to do and hire New York studio bands to do it. Jimmy Orange and you used to get me to do albums. So I did that for a number of years, and for 4 years I did that.
When he would dictate the parts, they weren't notated. He would would he sing them to you, or how would he dictate them?
Sort of sing, kind of grunt, and kind of pat his foot, and beat on the table, and some kind of way I kind of got what he meant out of it, and put tunes together, put some songs together. But I didn't do exactly like he said. Sometimes I would forget what he said and do another song altogether. And he would say sometimes, I mean, this is true. Sometimes he would say, That's it. Sometimes people say, that ain't nothing like what I told you, And I couldn't fool him all the time, but I could get my point across most of the time, And we did a lot of albums like that. We did Hell, Reality. I don't know if you ever heard of these albums. And Mind Power. It was a lot of albums we did. Then he decided he wanted another group. So he formed Fred Wesley and the JBs. So that's how I got to be Fred Wesley. Well, I was already Fred Wesley, but that's how I got to be known as Fred Wesley and the JBs. We did, Boosie first did The Grunt. The Grunt was a tune on the album Giving Up Food for Funk. And Boosie did the grunt on it, and the rest of it, I did it. Blessed Blackness, Wine Spot, all those tunes on there, they were my tunes. So after Boosie left, he left the grunt, and he left the name the JBs too, because he was going off doing his own thing, and I had the band, and now it wasn't called the JBs at first. Thank you. Yeah. It wasn't called the JBs at first. It was just called the JBs, and we did that album, Giving Up Food for Funk, and it was pretty good sales on that album. So then now we're gonna do another album. We did Damn Right I'm Somebody, and this album came out as Fred Wesley and the Fred Wesley and the JBs. So. So that's how that happened. The Grunt was only Boosie's album, the only Boosie tune on the album. The rest of it was me, the JBs. Then we did Damn Right I'm Somebody. We did Breaking Bread, and we did Gonna Have a Funky Time, Doing It to Death. Those are the three albums that we did. Actually, we did the JB's Monorail. Now, the JB's Monorail came out at the end. We had done the album. I had quit the band before the album came out, actually. So it was Fred Wesley and the JBs. James Brown, when I quit, James Brown said, take his name off. So he took my name off the album, and the album came out, And the JBs. You understand? And the JV, but anyway, so that's how I got to be Fred Wesley and the JB. And the reason my band is called the New JB now because there have been many bands since 1975. Most people weren't even born then, Many bands since 1975 called the JBs. So I just let them have that JB, and I just call my band the New JBs. We've been together about 20 years now, and I know you never heard it, but you can hear it online. You can see what we do, because we mostly work in Europe. But you can hear some of the performances online, and it's called the New JBs because I just renamed it the JBs. The JBs, the New JBs, yes.
Question here. Did everybody hear that question? What was it like coming out of James Brown Band to go and play with George Clinton and the Parliament Funkadelic crew?
No, I never heard Funkadelic, Bootsy and Bernie Worrell and Gary Shatter. Do you all know these names? Yeah. They came to me. I was still with James Brown. They came to me and said, we have some new music, and we want you to do some horn arrangements on it, because they figured I did all these horn arrangements with James Brown. I should be able to do horn arrangements for George Clinton also, So George Clinton had done the tracks for the Mothership Connection. Are you familiar with that album? Yeah. We give up the funk and stuff, yeah. And so I came in on the Mothership Connection because I was through with James Brown. He started. We had done all those albums, and now he wanted me to copy people. He wanted me to copy David Bowie, and some African cat, you know. And so I said, no, I'm not gonna do that because I still feel like we could create more music, you know. So I left James Brown and went to Parliament Funkadelic, and I found out that it was very free over there. George Clinton said, just give me something bad, you know. So I did everything. I just experimented with horns, you know. Anything I thought a horn could do, we would do it, you know. He wanted strings. Okay, I experimented with strings and stuff, you know. So, and George would take everything. In fact, I'm down to do a new George Clinton album now, you know. Yeah, he's in the studio right now creating some rhythm tracks for me to do horns on. Anyway, yeah, for real, right now. I'm very excited about that, you know. But George said do anything, so I just put horns all over the track, and he would sit there and pick the horns out, and but he would determine whether he would use it or not, you know. Some he used, most he didn't use, but the ones he used were very famous horn lines, you know, that have become standards in horns over the years, you know. Yeah. So that's what it was like, going from a very regimented James Brown to a free flowing George Clinton.
So James, it's true, was a very strict band leader, disciplinarian. Is it true that he would fine people if they made mistakes and all this kind of stuff?
Yeah. Yeah, he would fine some people. But the band, you know, the band took pride in doing things perfect. You know, we just played perfectly as possible. You know, of course you make mistakes sometimes, you know, but and he would hear those little mistakes, and he would give you a fine, you know.
He would go like this, like 5.
Yeah, the 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Or the big one, like that, that's $100 fine. Like that, you know. I got one of those one time, you know.
At least it wasn't that the other.
Oh, no. I wish it had been, you know. But
That's what they would do after you find it.
exactly. And you know, when I got this one, he went behind the stage. He was getting off the stage. I jumped off the stage right behind him, you know, and told him, I said, if you take penny out of my pocket, I quit, you know. And he said, well, you gonna pay it anyway. It's a long argument. Yeah, but it was a big difference between James Brown and George Clinton. George Clinton was one of the boys, you know. Yeah, man, we're gonna do the thing, you know. But he would go in the studio and mix your horns out, you know. I said, what happened to my horns, you know? But it was all cool, you know. Yeah.
We have some other questions. Anybody right now? Rory.
Yeah.
Years ago, I played with Bill Doggett, and Bubba Brooks was a horn player.
Yeah.
And they used to tell me about the fines. They said once in a while, the band would be walking up stage, and a couple of people owed James money. Like the fine was more than.
More than the pay.
Yeah.
Which was kind of.
My question was, I read this. It's like kind of an autobiography by James, and he was talking about some tunes, like something like Cold Sweat.
Uh-huh.
He would talk about where that came from. Like there would be an R&B tune from years before that was a much different tempo and would evolve. Like,
Yeah.
Was some of that already happening when you were in the band? Or?
Yeah, well, you know, Pee Wee Ellis said that Pee Wee wrote that tune. You know, he actually wrote the tune. But the bump beat up that lick came from Miles Davis. You know, actually came from there. You know, that's what Pee Wee said, and I believe what Pee Wee said. 'Cause, you know, James would not really form the tunes out exactly. Pee Wee kind of formed them out. You know, after James kind of grunted and beat on the table and said what he wanted, you know, then Pee Wee would actually put it into music, you know. And the same way I did, too, because I learned a lot from Pee Wee. After Pee Wee told me, he said, well, he won't remember exactly what he said, you know. So that is true. He won't remember exactly what he said. So just come close to what he said, and do something really, really innovative. Yeah. So something different, you know. So that really gave you almost total freedom. But the catch is he might remember exactly what he said, you know. But usually he didn't. He didn't remember because it was certain tunes that I would just say yeah, and I forgot what he said. I would write a whole new tune, and give it to him. I think that's all right. It's a lot of tunes that on the albums, that I would make up. I make up.
Did he come up with parts for the drummers too and the whole rhythm section, or was it just the horn kind of lead melodies?
No, he do the whole rhythm section. And now when he's there with you, then you had to play exactly what, and he would not remember exactly what he said there. Like for instance, on doing it today. Now that's a definite bass line. That jick 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 jick. That's a definite guitar line, But so he knew what that was, he understood. But if you ask him later, like days later, to recreate it, he couldn't remember. But the bass player had to remember it. The guitar player had to remember it, and the organ player had to remember you had to remember all those parts. And he would say, yeah, that's it, But
he would remember it if it was right or not. Like he would catch the feeling.
Yeah,
right
sort of. He would sort of, because if Jabbo played the right drum beat, then the bass player played the right bass part, then he would remember that the rest of it was kind of like what he said, yeah. Because that was a total jam. It was a total jam. He just made it up in the studio, made the parts up, then made up the vocal too, and you could hear it. Going to take you high, it don't make sense. Funky, it's called Funky Good Time, but the name of the tune is Doing It to Death.
Right.
Never said Doing It to Death in the whole tune, Never said Doing It to Death. So I don't know, He used to make up things as he go along make them stick,
You could hear that on many of the records where he'll
Many
tell
of the
people,
records, yeah.
Down and D, and he'll and tell you to change, and then the whole band would modulate.
Right.
And that was all on the fly.
All on the fly, and the band didn't have any idea that it was going to be done until it was done. Then you had to redo it. On the next gig and stuff like that. But yeah.
I'm just curious if you were able to share in any of the royalties for those songs that you created.
Question is, was he able to share in any of the royalties for those tunes?
Yes, some of them. I get royalties for tunes that I wrote. I even get royalties for tunes that I didn't write, and I get royalties for tunes that somebody else wrote. Makes you very upset about Soul Power 74. There was a tune that he played the alto tune on it, but he didn't actually write the Soul Power. I get paid every time they play that bop beat it up, baby that did it up bop. I get paid for it. And I feel like I should give Maceo some of my money, But he's very upset about that, So the royalty was issued out, and it was I don't know how he would do it. Sometimes he would just say, "Give Jabbo some of this," and "Give Fred some of this," But same tunes I would get money for. Some tunes I actually wrote, and same tunes I didn't actually write, I would get tunes for. So it's kind of a make-up thing to do that too. He made that up just like he make the music up,
So I'm curious. We got another question? Somebody had a question?
Wait, I'm still the publishing guy. What do you say? Okay, yeah.
That's good. We had another question first? Go ahead.
Were there any arrangers who made an impression on you that you kind of drew upon when you were called to lead James Brown's band and then do other writing?
Actually, yes. Now, I learned a lot from David Matthews. You know David Matthews, the real David Matthews. Is in New York. I haven't seen him in years, but he was a great
arranger.
arranger.
He's in Japan now. This gentleman says he's in Japan now.
Is he? Yeah. Tell him I say hello if you see him. Yeah. But he helped me a lot, and Amos Sharlop, a contractor here, he helped me a lot. And actually, the musicians in New York helped me tremendously, because James would send me in the studio with with a tune, and I had no idea what I was doing. You know, I just go in there, and then Amos Charlotte would lead me in the studio. Dave Matthews would go behind me and say, do stuff, do this. You know, and I would conduct the band until I got it. You know, I had to learn. It took me maybe a year before I could go in the studio by myself, and I had great musicians to do the Brecker Brothers, Marvin Stamm, Lou Soloff. I was really almost cried when I heard he was dead. You know, cause
And you know, Emil died a couple of days after Lou Soloff.
he did.
Yeah.
Oh.
Emil just died 2 weeks ago.
No kidding. And I heard he was doing a session somewhere in town, right? Because I was going to try to find that session. How much? 97, that's right, yeah. Oh, man, that's terrible news, you know.
I remember a date that I did Lou Soloff and myself.
Yeah,
And the date was a 7 to 10 date. Okay?
yes.
James Brown decided that he didn't like what the rhythm section was playing. So he sent us out in the hallway. Now it was called from 7 to 10, 3 hours. We stayed out in the hallway. He kept working with the rhythm section, getting it just the way he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And when he called us back in, it was about 1 o'clock in the morning. But we went in to make like
What was the tune?
$400. I don't remember.
No, I get
But we
it.
went in to make like $400. We wound up making like $1,500.
That's right.
It's all right
Yeah.
for waiting
I
in
mean,
the
you know,
hallway.
it was like that, because when James comes to the studio, that's when you know you're going to make some money. It's going to be boring as hell now. It's going to be boring. Gordon Edwards told me one time,
Like
he
a
said,
movie set. Sit around, hurry up and wait.
yeah. Gordon Edwards told me, he told James, because James was trying to show him how to do something, you know, and he got very frustrated with James, and he said, man, you crazy as hell, you know, and walked out the studio, and on the way out, he said, and you crazy for acting like you know what he's talking about. Talking to me. And we had to get him. And, I mean, he got real frustrated with James, you know, because he was one of the best bass players in town. I used to get the best musicians, Steve Gadd and all of these cats. You know, I used to get the best musicians. And
On James Brown's records?
on James Brown records.
What?
Have you ever heard Down and Out in New York City?
Yeah, that's Steve Gadd.
That's Steve Gadd and Buster Williams Jr. Buster Williams, Buster Williams didn't want to play it. You know, he looked at it, he said, what are these notes? You know, it was in D flat. It was a lick like go like this. Ba 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 beep beep, beep beep beep, beep 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 beep, beep 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 beep. That was the lick. Buster Williams said, what the hell is this? He said, what are changes? You know, I said, well, Buster, it's no changes. You know, you just have to play this lick. You have to play this lick.
Just
you know?
vamp.
Yeah. And he finally did it, and did it to death too. I mean, did it real good. But you had to twist these arms, twist some of these fine musicians, twist their arm to get them to do the simple stuff that James Brown wanted them to do. You know.
So how did you make that simple stuff so musical? What's the approach that you use and the band members used?
But you just have to make it musical, because you know, James would hum some stuff and beat out some stuff that didn't make sense, but after you fumble with it for a while, it'll begin to make sense some kind of way. And what he would do, he'd say, that's it. Once he said that's it, then you stayed with that, you know. And like the bass player would stay with that, the drummer would stay with that, guitar player, and it would all congeal into a song, you know.
So he wasn't sure what it was, but he knew it when he heard it. Sometimes.
Yeah,
Sort of, kind of.
He would say he knew it when he heard it, you know.
Okay, all right.
But I don't think he really ever knew it. But he just knew that he had a record. He had a record, you know. And it would sound good sometimes. Sometimes it would sound terrible, you know. But he would put it out anyway. Like the JB. We did Give Me Some More. Can't you give me some more? Do, 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 do. I hated that song. I said, Lord have mercy. I hope nobody in Mobile hear this song. They would laugh. They would laugh their ass off, you know. But But they got Fred Wesley playing simple stuff like "Give Me Some More," you know. And that record has been a hit for 50 years. 50 years, you know. And I don't understand how it is because it's so simple. Baby dee da, baby dee da, baby dee da, baby dee da. Can't you give me some more? And you can't really count it. You know, it is no definite form to it. You just do it, you know. And Pastor P the same way. I just hope nobody in my hometown ever heard me play. But it's a smash. It's a smash.
Oh, we got a question over here.
Did you watch the James Brown movie?
Yeah.
What did you think of the movie?
Oh, it was a good movie about Bobby Bird and James Brown. Yeah, but you know, it wasn't factual about anything that's going on in the James Brown organization. They didn't really concentrate on that. It was a movie about Bobby Bird's relationship with James Brown. That's what it was, and they told that story very well. You know, that's what I think. You know. But as far as the music and you have to see my movie when it comes out. It'll be more truthful, you know. First, I got to get a deal for it, you know. Well, first I got to get a script for it. Well, first I should write the book. Oh, the book is written.
Got the book already. Chris has a question.
Yeah, okay. Can you talk about your relationship with Bobby? Or if there was one?
Mine?
Yeah.
With Bobby Bird.
He was a member of the band, you know. He was a high echelon member of the band. James Brown used to treat him like dirt. But he swear that Bobby was his boy. You know, that was his main man. But I thought that he treated Bobby really bad, you know. But me and Bobby were good friends. And me and his wife, Vicki Anderson, still good friends today, you know. Yeah. But I didn't like the way James treated Bobby because, you know, Bobby actually saved James' life. Did you see the movie? Yeah, he got James out of jail and took him into his home, you know, and James, you know, continued to wear him out, you know. But Bobby was a good friend of mine, good friend. Yeah.
So I have a question, if I could jump in. When I hear you tell how James would come up with these riffs and kind of they would all congeal in the studio, and then later you played with Count Basie, who did you feel a similarity in the approach because they both are known for kind of using a riff-based way of playing music? Did you feel that there was some kinship there? Maybe not in the leader's styles, but musically, or no? No. No.
I didn't think it was any.
What was it like then playing with Count Basie? Because you were there when he was still leading the band and in the band.
Best gig I ever had. Best gig I ever had. Although I didn't play a lot of solos, you know. I had 2 solos, and one was on a funk tune. But it was a great gig. Basie was a great band leader. You know, he would say things. Anybody play with Basie? Yeah.
Jimmy Owens.
Great bass. Wasn't he a great band leader? Great band leader, and he would trick you. Now, I'll tell you a story. One time I went to Detroit. I was with the band for a whole year. We went to Detroit. That's where George Clinton recorded. George said, well, I want you to do some recording for me on while you're here. I said, okay. You know, we had a couple of days. So the day of the gig, we went in the studio. I took the whole Basie horn section in the studio and cut some music, you know. We did some hard music. And so when we got back to the gig, Basie said, hey, Fred, how you doing? I said, how you doing? He said, how you doing? I said, I'm tired, man. I've been doing some session all day. You know, he said, mm-hmm. He called every tune that had a second trombone solo. Wore me out, boy. But that's one thing I learned about Basie. But Basie taught me a lot of things. You know, he said, don't ever tell the band leader that you worn out from playing somebody else's gig, you know. Yeah. But that was a good gig, basically. I would be there now if it paid more.
One of the things you mentioned that I thought was really intriguing is that a lot of great players came through that band that could play really well, but they didn't socially mix with the band or they didn't get along.
You're talking about
in the Basie band.
Oh, Basie band, yeah. You know,
so how did that work? That kind of you had to kind of pass the audition, not just musically, but also in terms of how you could integrate with
Yeah.
personality-wise.
I don't know, because people that didn't integrate personality-wise just sort of disappeared, you know. And you just say, and nobody asked, where's that cat? Nobody asked nothing, you know. They just
fade away.
they would just disappear. It was a funny thing, but they would just not be there anymore, you know.
But it's just curious because I think some of especially the students here, might think, well, to get the gig, you just have to play well. But it wasn't just about that.
And to get the gig, you don't have to play with. I certainly wasn't qualified to play in basic band when I first got in the band. I just left Bootsy Rubber Band. I'm wearing boots up to here, long hair and stuff, you know. I didn't know how to put a tie on. I was really crazy, you know. But Waymon Reed, anybody remember Waymon Reed? Yep. Recommended me for the band. That was good enough for basic, so I got in there, and I really should have been going home the next day, you know. But I played that blues in C, and basic kind of liked that, so I made it 2 days. Then I made it the third day, and Waymon said, man, you can carry that music to the room with you, you know. And so I took it to the room and practiced out all the parts, you know, and I got better and better and more into it, you know, all the guys. I liked all the guys. Mel Wanzo helped me a lot, you know. He said, don't ever do that. Don't ever do it. Watch this, you know, do this. And so that's how I made the band, you know, because the guys helped me make the band, because I should have been gone the first 2 days after that, you know. But I managed to stay in it, and then I stayed in there for a year. Yeah.
Got another question here.
Are there any common mistakes you see young musicians do, or like characteristics where you're like, why are they doing that? You know, kind of slap your forehead. Like, what are they?
Common mistakes that young musicians make is a question. What?
Having an attitude, you know. Some musicians come in the band and they think they better than the rest of the cats in the band, and you know, guys don't like that. If a guy is in a band and you come in the band and if you think you might be better, probably are better, you know, but you can't act like that. You know, you gotta be humble, and because musicians are funny people. They will X you out, you know, before you know, like the basic band. You will disappear, you know. Because I've seen some good musicians come through the basic band and not stay, you know, because of their attitude, you know.
Is that the jazz attitude that you
jazz attitude or just attitude, period, you know, because musicians don't like that, and if the musicians don't like you, then I'm not saying you should knuckle under to all musicians just so they'll like you, you know. Yeah, I am saying that, you know. But you have to get along. Because you don't have to just play the music. You have to get along with the people in the band, if it's a big band especially, you know.
Or the Barracuda can come and get you.
That's true. Yeah. You know, I actually didn't know how to play trombone. The reason I got in a band at all in the Army, because when I went to the School of Music, the way I got there, I had failed. I went to Florida A&M, failed the band test, you know. Went to Tennessee State, I failed that band test, and went to the Army, failed that test. They said, you can't play, but the Army gave me an out. They said, you can go to the School of Music, though. We'll send you to the School of Music.
Where was that?
It was in Little Creek, Virginia. And so
that was an Army school.
Army school. Well, military, Army school, yeah. And I went there, and that's where I learned how to play the trombone. You know, I knew how to play little gigs, you know, like blues gigs, you know, boom, dee, dee, doo, dee, dee, you know, stuff like that. But actually reading music, you know, and playing your part with somebody else, make sure that you blend the sections and stuff like that. That's where I learned that in the School of Music.
When was that? What time period was this happening?
This was 1964. Cecil Bridgewater was there with me.
Cecil was there, our very own.
Yeah,
Cecil.
he was a very good musician at the School of Music. I was becoming of a good musician at the School of Music. Yeah. But it was a learning experience. I had a good time at the School of Music until come time to leave. They sent me back to Alabama. I couldn't believe it. They sent me to Alabama. Cecil Bridgewater went to Hawaii. I couldn't believe it. I said, why you sending me to Alabama? I'm from Alabama, I wanted to see the world, go to Germany, Hawaii, somewhere, But come to find out that they had a very good big band in Huntsville, Alabama. And they needed a trombone player that could play jazz solo. So I was the star of the band, I got down there, and I didn't know what I would expect down there. I thought they was a hick town, a country town, But it turned out to be a very good experience. I met some good musicians there, Henry Oxtail, you might know him.
Anybody know Henry?
A
couple people.
North Texas State, and a lot of good musicians there. Roy Fox, in Atlanta. Anyway, good musicians there,
So, I got a question over here.
When you did time in the military, how did that affect your musicality?
It made it, because I didn't, in high school, in junior high, the bandmasters there would write music for the band to play so that band would sound good that day. That's all. That's all they cared about, And, you should be getting an education of music, so preparing you for the next step, and preparing you to be a good musician. They didn't care if you got to be a good musician. They just want you to play these notes so you can sound good in the Mardi Gras parades, and in the Christmas programs, That they just didn't care about you being the total musician. So I did not learn that. I learned how to play jazz, from being around jazz cats. It's a great jazz musician in Mobile, and I learned how to do chitlin circuit gigs by being with Ike and Tina Turner and stuff like that. But I didn't understand how to sit in a section, play concert music. I never played any concert music, Well, we played Light Cavalry Overture or something like that, But that was just so that band would sound good that day. That's all they wanted, So I really learned how to play trombone and how to be a musician in the Army.
Fred, I was an original ICF before you got with Ike and Tina Turner.
Right.
And when you were doing the James Brown sessions in town, somehow you got my name as a singer.
Yes.
Would you please tell me about your Ike and Tina Turner baby?
Asking for stories about the Ike and Tina Turner days.
Now that was a gig. That was a good gig, and I did good on that gig. This is Joshie Armstead. She's a renowned New York session singer. She had done all the sessions. You probably hear her on any vocal session that was done in the 70s and the 80s. Yeah,
And a
probably
New
was
School alumna.
And New School alumna, yeah.
And
Yeah,
actually, I want to mention that Fred's middle daughter is also a New School alumna.
Yep.
Not in music,
Yeah,
but she graduated from the New School. How cool is that?
Yeah. But
I think it's cool anyway.
now, I know you wonder how this young lady had ever been in Ike and Tina Turner Ikettes before I did, because she's so young, I don't know how it happened, but I was in the band before you were there.
No,
No? Well, after I was there.
after.
Can you believe that?
But we missed each other with Ike and Tina Turner.
Yes, we did.
But I loved working with you
Yeah.
when you were recording James's things in New York.
Yeah.
And at that time, I did not know. that
And I
you
did
had
not
been
know.
with Ike and Tina.
I did not know you had been.
did not know that I had been with Ike and Tina.
Right. Yeah.
So in the last few years, we discovered that
Yeah.
by working together again.
Right.
But just tell me a little bit about your experience with Ike.
Well, now Ike Turner was a good band leader. I thought he was a great band leader. You know, we had rehearsals and the band was tight. The band was real tight. You know, we used to do routines and stuff. You know, and he used to do flips in the air. And now I know what you want trying to get to about the fights with Tina, right? I didn't.
Not really.
No.
Just the music and the chitlin circuit.
Oh yeah, that was.
Can you give us a feeling? Yeah, what that Chitlin circuit was like, because I don't know to what extent that still exists, but
It was like, get on the bus, go to the gig, change your clothes on the bus, sleep in somebody's house, you know, because you couldn't go to the motel back in those days. You didn't. You couldn't go to every motel. It wasn't a black motel. In the South, it was black motels and white motels. Many southern cities didn't have black motels, so you had to go to a rooming house. But we did it. We went to a rooming house and we played the gig. The gig was just like any show you've ever seen. It was just as good as any show you ever seen, on a small stage, sometime on a flatbed truck, you know, in a little club that you couldn't hardly get the whole band on the stage. But we did the show. Uniforms, like James said, hits and stuff, everything, just like it was a big Broadway production, you know. And we did it real good, and I learned how to band lead back in the days. Ike and Tina Turner, from Ike and Turner. Ike Turner. I learned how to band lead from that, you know. I learned what to do and what not to never do, you know.
what should you not never do?
It's a lot of stuff. Read the book, you know.
I read the book. Yeah, we don't want to get.
Well,
in
you know,
trouble here.
you know, you have to treat your band right. Now, Ike Turner did pay the band regularly. Sometimes you get paid in $1 bills, you know, but you did get your money on Sunday nights like you were supposed to, you know. Unlike James Brown, sometimes he would take boxes of money out of auditoriums, you know. I mean, boxes, big old boxes, full of money. You see him taking it out, putting it in his car, and he driving off with it, you know. Come payday, no money. I say, where's the money, you know? He would make like $500,000 and $600,000 a week, and he payroll would just maybe $12,000 a week, and you wouldn't get your money. You wouldn't get your money until maybe sometimes they make excuses, you know, like you get paid in the middle of the week sometime. And we had trouble getting paid. So Ike Turner was different from James in that way. He would pay regularly on time. Now, they had a thing called Turner tax. He was fine too, you know. But
Turner tax.
Turner tax. But generally, you would get your money right.
They all came from Ray Charles, that kind of treatment of the band.
Oh,
Those
yeah.
guys.
Oh, that's terrible, you know.
Did you ever get a draw? A draw is that?
Yeah. You know what a draw is? A draw is somewhere when you get part of your money in the middle of the week. You know, like your payday was Sunday. If your payday was Sunday on Thursday or something, that'd be draw day, you know.
Like sharecropping.
Like sharecropping.
Well,
But
okay.
can I tell you this little tidbit? Ike Turner formed the Ikeettes because he said Ray Charles had Rayettes.
Oh, yeah. And now Ray Charles is another story, you know. I won't go into that, you know, because I only worked with him for 1 week. That's all I could take. Very good band, very good music. Treated the band like dirt. Treated the band terrible, you know. You know that.
This is the real deal we're getting here, people. This is the real deal.
Yeah.
Anybody else got some questions out here? Okay, go ahead.
When George Clinton gets sampled, from what I've heard, he just gets a writer's credit, and like you're on some of the most sampled records ever. What is your take on being sampled? And all that?
You know.
What's your take on being sampled is the question.
Yeah. I would love to get some of that sample money, you know, But now me and George had a discussion about that. You know, I said, now George, certain of these tunes, you know, the horn parts turn out to be the vocal parts. You know, I hear some vocals singing the same thing that I wrote for the horn, so I should have some of the publishing for that. He said, no man, you horn publishing. He couldn't hear it. He could hear it. Actually, that's why I quit him, you know, because he could not understand me getting publishing for horn arrangements, you know, because he was paying me enough money, you know, for doing the work for hire. You know, he could give me plenty of money for doing it. And like I'm gonna charge him up the yin yang for this session, you know. But he couldn't understand why I should get some money for the publishing for the horn arrangement. But now, like you say, now it really makes a difference now because a lot of those horn things are sampled, and I still don't get no money. You know, he gets money for it. But that just go back to the part with Maceo. Maceo doesn't get the money for Soul Power 74, and he played the saxophone solo on there. You know, but that been sampled, and he's no money. So it's a hurtful thing, but it's fair. I guess it's fair.
On records like Damn Right I Am Somebody, which has been sampled a lot, do you see back that there's your name on it? Does that make any difference?
Well, yeah, that makes a difference. If my name is on, then I get some of the money, you know. But if my name is on, all I do is play a solo or something like that, no money, you know. Because publishers get money, but work for hire musicians, no money.
How about sound exchange? Did you get any money from
Sound exchange, yes, I do get money from sound exchange, you know. But that's another vehicle to raise money too, you know.
Sound exchange is for online stuff, isn't it? Isn't that?
Yeah,
It's for
yeah.
digital
Yeah.
rights.
Yeah. And I get quite a bit of money from sound exchange, but it's not. It's just like publishing. Whoever the publisher is, whoever writes the song, not the soloist, not the horn player, not nothing, gets the money. You know.
Chris and then Roy.
So you talk about records like Soul Power and Sex Machine and those formative James Brown records. Really, it seems like there isn't a lot of music before that sounded like that.
Yeah.
You were talking about interpreting the parts that James was giving you and then trying to be innovative in
Right.
some way and put yourself into it.
Mm-hmm.
I guess was when you were writing those parts and doing those arrangements, were you thinking about trying to change something or be innovative, or were you just doing something that felt good?
Doing something that felt good because a lot of those stuff like Soul Power I worked on. I get money from Soul Power, and Jabbo gets money from Soul Power. I don't
Jabbo
know.
gets money. Good.
Yeah.
Give the drummer some.
Oh yeah. But I don't think Boosie gets any money for it, you know, because Boosie played the bass on that. That's one thing that me and Boosie collaborated on with James Brown. But I think Boosie gets paid for Sex Machine and Superbad. Those were the three things that Boosie recorded on, you know. But what was your question?
If you were, in a sense, like trying to push the boundaries,
Oh yeah.
or if you were just doing something that just felt great.
That's it. Because a lot of that stuff, Jabbo would start it. You know, it would be a beat that Jabbo, and Jabbo plays unorthodox drums. He's a great drummer, but he played sort of unorthodox drums, you know. And Bootsy definitely played unorthodox bass. I challenge you to play that bass line on Sex Machine, you know.
Yeah.
I do. Because it's not a regular nothing, you know,
Yeah.
the way he does it. But so that just said that's how they're just doing what feels good, you know. And that's where Boosie played. That's where Jabbo played. Actually, Clyde played like that too. Clyde, the drummer that played
Clyde
on
Stubblefield.
on Cold Sweat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he
And
changed
funky drummer.
and funky drum. Yeah, changed the whole drum pattern. You know, Clyde did. You know, but and Jabbo was trying to play like Clyde played, but he played another thing. You know, and that's why you just play what feel. And I did bop ba da, nothing. get paid for it, you know. Because I was new in the band, and James was trying to impress me, wanted me to take the job, you know, because that's another thing. Sometimes James would do things that for other reasons than what you did, than what you deserve it for, you know. Other reasons, you know.
And then Roy, sorry.
Yeah.
So you were mentioning drummers, and when I was really young in Brooklyn, I heard the band live, and I guess maybe it was Fairmont did, I can't remember which theater, one of the theaters. And I remember, and again, another, it was a baseball stadium. Remember there were always two full drum sets, and two drummers.
That's what I was going to ask about.
And my recollection was that they were often, or maybe always playing simultaneously. I can't remember if they were.
No, they would alternate. They would alternate, right?
Alternate, yeah.
Sometimes were they playing at the same time or never?
Sometimes they would just usually on the ending song they would play together, you know. But hardly ever they would play. Like Jabbo have his special songs he played. Clyde would have his special song that he played. This is when I was band leader, you know. They were the specialists. Like Jabbo would play all the shuffles, you know. Like Doing It to Death, I'll Go Crazy, stuff like that. Jabba would play that. But Clyde would play the funky stuff like Cold Sweat, I Got the Feeling and stuff like that. But usually on the end, Please, 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 something like that, they would kind of play together, you know. But hardly ever they, you know,
There
once.
were really two drummers just so there could be somebody who was specialized in each of the styles.
Yeah, it's good. Sometimes James would change up, you know, just to give that if he felt the energy go down with Clyde, he'd let Jabbo play. You know, if his energy go down, he'd let Clyde play. But it was definitely they all had their special song they played.
How about Purdy?
Purdy
How
never
about
played.
Purdy?
I did a concert with James Brown up at the Armory, and they had 3 drummers,
Yeah,
and Purdy was one of them.
I didn't know about that. Because as far as I knew, Purdy never played with James Brown. But you telling me he did, huh?
We're talking about Bernard Purdy.
Bernard Purdy, yeah.
Question in the back here.
Who was the drummer on Mo Roots? Because there's a discrepancy. I thought it was Bernard Purdy.
Mo Roots.
Yeah, on Mo Roots with Maceo's band.
I don't know. I couldn't say for sure because I was away from Maceo then. I don't know. I know it might have been Bill Stewart. Might have been him, but he played on the first album, Roots Revisited. But I don't know if he did Mo Roots or not. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I won't say because I'm not sure. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
As a person who's made a living playing or being a professional musician, what's one of the most important thing you would contribute to your success?
Well, you must read, number one. That's important to me. I'm going to tell you what's important to me. And you must have a strong sound. And a good attitude. That definitely helps, you know. And some kind of idea of the style of music that you are playing. You know, you got to play one style, then you play another style. You have to be adept to all styles of music. You know, if you want to be a professional musician where you can get any gig from anybody at any time, then you have to play all styles. You know, even country, jazz style, funk. You have to be able to play all those styles, and you must have a strong sound, and you must be able to read in case they put music in front of you to read. You know, I never was good at that, but that's what. Do that answer your question? Those are the main things that you have to know. You know. Yeah.
Anybody else?
Yeah.
Cecil.
Who were some of your influences early on the time when you decided your father was putting it in front of you?
I like J.J. Johnson, you know. I really listened to J.J. Johnson. That was my first jazz influence, you know. Then I heard Curtis Fuller. That was the second jazz. Then then I heard Frank Rossellini. You know, he was a great trombone player. I mean, even funky. If you listen to Frank Rossellini, he was kind of funky, you know. And
How about Al Gray?
I didn't really care too much about Al Gray, but he was a good trombone player. In fact, I took his gig in Bassist Band, you know. Al Gray, no, I didn't take his gig. Now. Don't get me wrong. He left the gig and left a seat open, and that's when I filled the seat, you know. I didn't take his gig, now, you know. But Al Gray was good. He left the band with Jimmy Forrest, you know, and they went out on their own. But J.J. Johnson, Curtis Fuller, Frank Rossellini, you know, those are my three great influences.
Tom, got a question.
It's great to talk for you to talk about all those trombone players. I love them too.
Yeah.
But my question, I love what's my influences. How do you propel your career forward? You know, like from like the business aspect. Like right now, I'm in a process where I'm trying to really do that and put myself out there and try to pick things up and you know make a little bread myself. So like, how did you do that when you were young? I know it's a lot different now.
Yeah. Well, you know, the thing is, I used to always say that if I'm offered the gig, for whatever reason, I'm going to take it. And I'm going to keep it as long as they keep me, you know. Unless they had to fire me, had to run me off the gig. You know, if it's the gig I wanted and I got it, I would take it, you know.
What was that process like? How'd you get to that?
I don't know. It's basically luck and chance, you know. Like I played with Ike and Tina Turner. Club owner recommended me for the gig, you know. And then I went from there to Hank Ballard the Midnighters. A guy was in Hank Ballard's band that I liked, and Willie Gresham was his name. And so I went with that band so I could be with Willie. It was a terrible mistake, though, because that band never paid nothing, you know. Hank Ballard still owed me money, you know. I mean, I never got paid. And he told me he was going to pay me more than Ike Turner. I should have stayed with Ike Tina Turner. But here I am today, you know. But it was mostly chance and luck, you know. But the thing is, whenever I was offered a gig, I would take it, even if I knew I wasn't qualified for it. Because sometimes you can come up to be qualified for a gig. Because I knew I didn't have the qualification to play with basses, you know. But I took it. Took it anyway. I said, they're going to run me out of here if they don't really get me out of here, you know. But you'll come up to it. You'll come up to it if you got the balls to be there, to stay there, you know. Yeah.
Question back here.
Yeah, I was just asking if you have ever dealt with common horn player frustrations, such as like if you're in rehearsal and you come up with a really slick line and the lead singer doesn't like it and she or he is like, no, that's too complex, that gets in the way of my vocals.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that, or how do your friends deal with that when you think you come up with something really cool and the lead singer?
Is the lead singer the one that's paying you? Huh?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you just have to go with it, you know, because, I mean, if you come up with a slick lick and nobody likes it but you, get your own band. But who's ever band you in, you have to do what they say, you know, because everybody has an idea of what is cool and what is not cool, you know. And whoever pays and whoever the band leader kind of dictates what goes down. You know, I've written many things that I knew was bad, you know, and people didn't like it, and you know.
Leslie just had the answer. She said, play it in your solo.
Play it in your solo.
That's true. I play it in solo, you know, or form your own band.
Got a question here.
But wouldn't you agree with, like, a lot of times when you get with these different bands, it's a lot of this about other musicians talking about you, word of mouth.
Yes.
You know, that's how I got with the basic band.
Right. Well, that's how I got with the bass band. You know, Because me and Waymon went back to Mobile, and when he came to Mobile with a circus, and we played at the jam session we had on Sunday evening. We would play some jazz, you know, and he liked the way I played, you know, and I liked the way he played. He was a great trumpet player, you know. So that's why he remembered that. So he got me with James Brown Band. Then he went on to bassist band, and he got me with bassist band. Waymon Reed was a big influence on me. I mean, a big benefactor of mine, you know. Yeah, he married Sarah Vaughan. I didn't have nothing to do with that. No. But he was my man, and he got me those 2 gigs, you know. And those were the two of the biggest gigs I ever had. You know?
I have a question, Fred. What makes something musically funky or not funky versus just simplistic?
Yeah. Well, actually, you can play anything funky. You can play a lick like my lips are dry now. You can play this. Play this. Simple. That's the same thing. Or you can play it like, and it's kind of funky. You know, it's the way you approach it. The scoop made it a little funky, you know, and either you could flatten it. That could make it funky, you know. But it's all in what you think is funky. It makes it funky, and the attitude with which you play it makes it funky. Jazz is the same way, you know. The way you play it can make it jazzy or funky, you know. I don't know how to answer that question, but attitude, that's the way to do it.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
That's the answer. Thank you. Owen, you got a question?
What's your name? Owen. Yeah. You the kid of Jimmy Owen?
When you're arranging horn parts,
Yes.
are you usually try and make it melodic? You try and make it more like pitch.
Yeah. It's I approach it all different ways. You can make it melodic, rhythmical. I say that horns should add snap and jiggle to your track, you know. So anything I put on a track gonna either make it snap or jiggle, either sound different, you know. So you can play chords and just play long tones and make it sound a different way, or you can play make it snap and make it jiggle, you know. You can approach it all kind of way. In fact, with George Clinton, I went crazy. I do everything. And sometimes I take the horn, split them up, and we do one track one way, another track another way, and they kind of gel together, you know. But I just made it up. Just make it up as you go. And he would use some of that stuff too. He would.
One of my favorite horn parts is I want my funk uncut.
Yeah.
And then all this boom, boom. That's
Yeah. But now Barney Warrell wrote that. But we had the same attitude, the same understanding of snap and jiggle, you know. Yeah. Yes.
Those Parliament sessions were all in the studio. They were all like overdubs that you did, for the most part.
Yeah.
Like you were playing to a track that was already recorded, and then writing to it.
Yeah.
So they would have the rhythm tracks first.
Rhythm track. I mean, sometimes it'd be real sparse rhythm track. One time I got a tape. They would pass out tapes, you know, with nothing but a guitar and the drum, a click track, you know. And I had to write some horns of that. That was the one that me and George fell out over. I said, now you got to give me some of this publishing, you know. But I forget what tune it was, but just click and just a guitar. And the guitar wasn't playing. I'm like just something like that all the way through it, you know. So I'm gonna be careful that if you give me anything like that this time. 50 years later.
The James sessions, you were mostly in the same room as the band, right?
Now, with the jam session, it was two ways we used to do it. Either I would write the parts out and take a band in the studio, a New York studio band. That could be anybody, you know, great musician. But sometimes James would take his band in the studio. Then he would be in the studio, and I would be in the studio. He would say something, and I would interpret it, and back to the band, and it would be. It'd take a long time, sometimes all day long, all night long together. But we get it together, it'd be a good song, you know. It'd be a good song.
Was there a method that you preferred, like personally?
Personally, I like to take the big band in the studio, you know,
Like with the rhythm section.
with the whole band, and with the New York studio band, you know. But I also like to go and with James Brown band too. I think I like the studio band better, but sometimes James just so boring, you know. He just takes so long and stuff. That's the only thing I hated about him, you know. But so sometimes we come out with some good music, like the Big Payback. Yeah. That was a good studio. I mean, road band. That's what I say. The road band did the Big Payback, you know. Yeah.
Do you think? Do you feel like maybe playing one more? Would that be okay with you, or you want to keep talking?
Yeah, let's play. Come on, y'all gonna play with me?
You guys up for it? One more?
Come on, Jimmy. Caesar.
Come on, y'all. Yeah, come on.
Yeah, give me. Do y'all know some funk?
Yeah.
What funk do y'all know?
We play soul power.
Come on. What? What? Soul power. That. Come on. Soul power? Okay. Where the piano player? Oh, you know soul power? Oh.
It's
Bop, bop, bop. Eat it. You know that?
yeah. What key?
D. Play that. Come on, Now the thing about funk, the thing about playing funk, you gotta do it hard. You gotta do it ugly, you know. You gotta tear your face up to play funk, you know. But I think these students did very well, you know. Drummer, you gotta play hard, you know. All right.